These are the little microphones we use at city council, and you hit the little button on the right when you're speaking, and it should come a little bit through the speaker. It helps to have it pretty close. A lot of times the council members have it like that, and you can't, it doesn't have a lot of impact. So pull it down if you need to use that. And I want to thank, are we good to go? Are we up on YouTube and all like that? Thank you all for coming and participating. This is, this roundtable is a part of our Bank on Charleston, which is a coalition of most all these organizations that are here around the table with us this afternoon. They're financial institutions and the city of Charleston, with the goal of bringing financial empowerment to our citizens. And we provide information and assistance sometimes, and what some might think are simple matters like opening and keeping a checkbook, or balancing a checkbook, or just helping to manage financial affairs. And it's so important in the world today. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't think that our education system does enough for financial literacy for kids coming along, and that creates problems later on in life. So today we're going to focus on challenges that our citizens and residents face regarding economic empowerment, particularly given the inflation that we're seeing, the higher costs in the grocery store and elsewhere at the gas pump, that's impacting people on an everyday basis. So I know most of the folks here around the table, but for the purpose of YouTube and for our guests that are with us, Caitlin, could you start, and we'll just go around the table here, and please introduce yourself, use the microphone, and tell us a little bit about your organization as well.
Good afternoon. My name is Caitlin Maschek, and I am a financial center manager with Bank of America. So we are in the community, helping clients. You find our locations a lot here around Charleston.
My name is David Lugmeyer. I'm the financial center manager here for TD Bank here on the peninsula. We're here to embrace community development, build small businesses around the area, and really help out the communities any which way we can possibly do.
Hi, I'm Caprice Atterbury. I'm the CEO of Origin SC. We're a nonprofit organization providing financial literacy and housing coaching and promoting homeownership and financial stability.
Hello, my name is Tavia Watson, and I am a credit counselor as well as housing manager at Origin SC. And there we provide financial literacy to the public, to the community, as it relates to budgeting, credit improvement, homeownership, debt management, bankruptcy, and pretty much all the umbrellas of bridging that gap with financial literacy with those in the community.
My name is Latasha Francis, and I am also with Origin SC, and I'm a licensed HUD certified credit counselor and housing counselor at Origin SC as well.
My name is Peter Klatka. I'm with Woodforest National Bank. I'm the area market manager with our locations from Beaufort to Myrtle Beach and kind of inward, but really like to drive community initiatives and get a small army of branches invested in the communities that we serve. So looking forward to learning about each of you today. Thank you.
I'm Mary Tinkler. I'm the Charleston County Treasurer. So as I was telling fellow panelists, probably the least liked person in any room at a given time. But my intention is to not only, of course, collect the property taxes for this county, but disperse them adequately and effectively, and also change tax laws so that they make more sense for our residents.
Good afternoon. My name is Otha Meadows. I'm the president of the Charleston Area Urban League. We are a nonprofit civil rights organization. We do work in 4 primary areas. That's fair housing, asset building, employment, and family services. As many of the organizations have already indicated, we work in collaboration with in terms of first-time home buying, financial literacy, economic development. And so I'm real excited that we are having the opportunity to have this discussion here today, because I think it's very important for the community to understand that we are better when it is that we are working collectively and collaboratively. And so not only am I happy to be a part of the panel, but I'm real happy to be able to sit here and listen to some of the information that we're going to share here this afternoon. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Paul Bennion. I'm with Increasing Hope. We're a local nonprofit organization that provides financial literacy counseling in areas of budgeting, money management, credit counseling, housing counseling, small business entrepreneurship. We have 2 different programs for that, but we're also providing free income tax preparation and are on our 14th year. My role at the organization is I'm now the finance administrator and will be taking over the housing and credit counseling program January 1st.
And we have one late arrival, and maybe it was, I would have edited my earlier remark about the need for more financial literacy in the schools, if Chad hadn't had been here already.
My name is Chad Vail, and I get to be the Work-Based Learning Partnership Coordinator for Charleston County School District, which means I get to help connect students with career exploration opportunities. And financial literacy is a personal and a professional avocation of mine. And I'm thankful to share, and I don't know if it's been said yet, but the state of South Carolina Department of Education passed a law that is actually the legislature passed the law that all students beginning their freshman year in 2023 will begin to have financial literacy as a requirement of graduation. So the ninth graders, it will be, in 2023 graduating in, 4 years advance, but that's fantastic news and something that's long overdue in my opinion. So it's a pleasure to be here to join the conversation.
Well, that is good news. I'll be honest with you, I hadn't heard that. That's great. So if I may relay a little personal story, and we didn't have financial literacy in school when I was coming along, but to this day, I swear that the best experience, learning experience I had in finances was my paper route in the 5th grade. It was like running a small business. It really was. You had receivables, you had to do the production, you had to collect. And the way it was set up, I wasn't working for the newspaper. I was just a customer of theirs. I was buying the papers and then I was reselling them. And then I'd have to pay the newspaper company for my papers, whether I collected the money or not. And so to figure all that out was an amazing experience and one that really I benefited from. So having those kinds of experiences for kids and young people, I think is important. And I'm getting ahead of myself, but I want to go back to a challenge to our community for this summer, for summer employment and internship opportunities for high school and even college age kids, of trying to hire 1,000 people in the Tri-County region youth this summer. So more to come on that maybe first of the year, but I think we need to get back to really encouraging and training young people when it comes to financial literacy. So our first topic, however, is really dealing with the challenges of today, and that's navigating inflation. We've seen it almost 9% over the last year. I think it's moderated just a little bit. Wages haven't kept up, right? And so I'm just going to throw it out there. What can residents do to protect themselves from this financial hazard or pitfall of inflation that we're seeing out there? And the floor is open. Anybody want to raise their hand and respond?
From my point of view, from stuff that I've been seeing at the banks, we sit down with our clients, especially we have a lot that are being impacted by the inflation right now. We're trying to help them save money, reduce their overall costs. Some of the basic things that they can do that we're seeing a lot of is the subscription fees. And these are just some basic things. They have Hulu, they have Netflix, they have an average of 6 to 8 subscriptions that we're seeing anymore. that adds up and that takes out of their bottom line of their pocket that they could be using to offset the inflation of the prices with food and everything. So we're talking to our clients about reducing their subscriptions. It's just some basic things that we're trying to teach them at home to be more responsible with their money. Because a lot of them, they don't use all these subscriptions. They don't use all these apps. They're only using one or two primarily. And I understand Disney Plus for the children and Netflix for the adults. But then they have ESPN Plus, and we're actually working to try in my location, working with these people, showing them different ways to be able to save money. We're showing them where to cut out. We go through their bills with them. And when we show them that it's an eye-opening scenario when they see that they have 5, 6, 7 apps that they're paying $10 a month for, $15 a month for, and it adds up. And we're going over these overlapping subscriptions that they have, and we're showing them different ways to turn it off yourself, or there's even apps to help turn you off, and that will show you what you're spending your money on. So we're showing these people these things to help actually reduce their costs and cut their overhead in their home life, so that way they can start using the money for other things, medicine, food, gas, as you said, being all up. And also looking at, I had a client the other week, they had multiple phone bills because they didn't put them all in one phone plan. You can talk and negotiate with the phone companies for better phone plans, for family plans. Instead of paying $300, $400, $500, if you have a family of 4, you're paying for all that money for those phones. There's other subscriptions, teaching them to look out and actually go out and get the better deals. So from a banking point of view, one of the things we're trying to do is help them look at their finances on a month-to-month basis. We have people come in, sit down with us. They're spending $10 on a latte. Buy a coffee machine for $25 and then buy coffee and make it at home. And then you're going to save yourself a lot of money. Might not be the best flavor, but you learn to work with it. So we're trying to sit down and deal with this on a really dollar level and showing these people where to save their money and how to cut out these over expenditures and these double and triple expenses that they're not even using, that's actually cutting into their bottom line, and to help them actually be able to have extra money to offset the inflation that they're seeing right now.
That's terrific. Anybody else want to chime in, Paul?
Yeah, one thing that, I've encouraged clients to do is to come in and let's do a budget counseling session with them. Kind of like what you're talking about, David, is where we sit down and have folks write down on a chart every single thing that they're spending. Then we give them a spending diary, give them some homework, give them a month, record your expenses, come back in and let's do a real comparison of what you think you're spending to what you're really spending. And then do a critical analysis of what you're spending your money on, non-judgmental, but still, like what you're talking about with the subscriptions. Do you really need 4 subscriptions? And it's surprising that when folks sit down and start writing this information down, just how this money, all of a sudden this money, where's it coming from? They don't realize that they're spending it on so many things. And so once we get them to revise their budget now, and I know we're kind of answering a question later on, now they're seeing that magical word, savings.
Right. So, yes, ma'am.
We also at Origin, we look at, when we're working with clients, their priorities, their needs versus your wants. It's very important to start off with what is priority, so that we can get a feel, as well as the client can get a feel as to what is needed versus what you want. I believe when you start off there, it's an eye opener for you to kind of decide what to cut back, what is needed, what's not needed. So once again, that's a basic tool to start off when you're working with clients.
Absolutely. These are all sound pieces of advice. Caitlin.
We do something similar at Bank of America, where we have what's called a life plan. We have clients sit down and identify what their priorities are, their top priorities. They can rate them in what's most important, what's, down the road. And then based off of what they choose, we give them educational pieces of how to achieve these goals. We help them set smaller goals to reach this bigger goal, but then we also have Better Money Habits, which we partner with Khan Academy to provide this financial literacy program. And so based on the priorities they choose, they're able to go in and read, different articles about it. They're able to set up budgets. They're able to watch videos. So it opens up a whole nother world of different educational pieces for them too.
Absolutely. Now, one topic I'd like to raise is about the cost of housing. And we've seen housing costs escalate dramatically in Charleston over the last decade or two, and it was mostly because of supply and demand. But now, just recently, we're seeing an uptick because interest rates are going up, mortgage costs are going up, and the landlords who own property, if they don't own the property outright, they're paying interest to the bank. So they're raising rental rates. So what was already a really bad situation, just based on the value of real estate rising because of supply and demand, you've got the interest rate compounding housing costs. So we have a big contingent here from Origin, South Carolina, and also OTHA with, could y'all give us some thoughts about trying to survive with the situation with rising housing costs?
Hi, this is Caprice Atterbury with Origin SC. We are experiencing unprecedented raises in rent. We have one client who is paying $900 a month for her family of 3. Her rent was raised to $1,500 last month. She can't afford it. She has to move. She will no longer be able to work because she won't be able to commute from wherever she moves to. The only solutions we're really finding is trying to help people learn to budget. And often we're seeing families doubling up, moving in together. We're seeing people changing their commute strategies with their employers, asking their employers to help them work from home whenever possible. And basic budgeting is helpful. And then we negotiate with landlords. We do have about 1,500 disabled individuals who pay an average of $695 a month. That is now going up to $895 a month, and they live on $900 a month. So we have a crisis, and we're doing everything we can to find solutions. Ultimately, I think subsidies are going to have to be offered. Section 8 has to grow and help landlords control costs, because their insurance costs, as well as their interest costs, and as well as their profits, are keep going up.
Yeah, thank you, Caprice. Good insights. Otha?
I don't think we have to, I don't think I have to tell anyone around this table that we are facing an affordability and an availability crisis in this community as it relates to housing. At the Urban League, we have individuals who come in and, after we go through the financial coaching, I think the reality is that we need to think of ways in terms of how do we increase household incomes. Unfortunately, in this community, Mr. Mayor, we have individuals who work 2, sometimes 3 jobs and can't pay the rent. And so I think it goes without saying that we need to look at some policies in terms of what needs to happen to address the affordability and the availability crisis in this community. Believe me, I strongly believe in financial literacy coaching, but I think another key component is coming up with strategies in terms of how do we help individuals increase that household income. It may require going out, getting another job. One of the things at the Urban League, I think I heard someone a little earlier talk about a living wage. We need to move individuals from low-paying jobs into jobs that pay a living wage. And I think a little later on in the agenda, we'll have an opportunity to talk about workforce development and some things that we need to do in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else insights on housing costs?
One of the things that we're doing at TD Bank is we do have, for people that are still trying to get into houses, we do have multiple programs for people for low income and housing. So they don't have to have a huge down payment to get in there. We do offer financial assistance at the branch level. Also with people within existing homes, we work with debt consolidation to bring, because a lot of people unfortunately carry a lot of debt in credit cards and other types of loans. So we do have debt consolidation, so that way they can reduce how much they're paying each month and have that stretched out. And that way, working again with the credit code, credit counseling and financial literacy to help get them a little bit more stable. But unfortunately, that can only go so far without the people having a better wage in some cases. Like a gentleman from the Urban League said, working 2 or 3 jobs, it is exhausting for people. But I mean, we're trying as we can to give them other options to help expand their wallet to a point by stretching it out a little bit further.
Absolutely. So a lot of conversation here about good financial planning and prioritization. As we've seen and noted, some people have fallen off the ledge and getting in financial trouble. And you kind of touched on this there, David, but any further suggestions or comments about helping people once they their credit has been damaged or my wife told me this story just over the weekend of this lady. She was relying on a family member to pay the rent, and she was giving her portion of the rent, but unfortunately the family member wasn't paying the rent, and she ended up, but the lease was in her name, and she ended up getting an eviction notice. Now she's got that stain on her record as well to try to go out and even if you can find a halfway affordable place, if you've got any eviction on your record, it's really bad, isn't it? So anything about repairing credit and kind of reestablishing yourself, Caitlin?
At Bank of America, we offer what's called a secured credit card for clients that are trying to rebuild their credit that may not be approved for a traditional credit card. This one allows them to put money down onto a credit card, but they're still able to have that card, able to build their credit because that helps improve, credit card helps improve their credit score much more quickly than, other things may, like a car loan and things like that. So that is one tool that we offer clients to help improve their credit if they're, in a place where they feel like they can't come out of.
Right. Yes, ma'am.
At Origin, we look at a financial assessment. We meet our clients where they are, meaning accountability, being able to go under the umbrella of credit improvement versus credit repair, where we look at your debt, your income, your debt to income ratio, also your housing, budgeting. So with this assessment, we kind of look at things that are going to help you in the beginning, during, and at the end. For example, homeownership. If homeownership is a goal, we develop those goals with you in order to determine your housing affordability. And then with that being said, we also look at improving your credit, what is needed, like you said, a secured credit card, maybe paying down debt, maybe looking at other avenues as it relates to how you can improve your credit and keep your credit improved. Mm-hmm. So it's about the assessment and what that individual need. Sometimes people don't realize that their credit is not as bad as it seems or it looks. So we more so dive into your debt. If your debt is high, how to pay it down, those avenues if you need a checking account, or we just kind of help navigate those things that is important to you and your finances to get you where you need to be step by step, cradle to grave. And then afterwards, assist you with foreclosure prevention and learning how to do things that may come up if you purchase your home or if you happen to have an unexpected expense. Repairs, those things come about. So we still need to work with you on those things as well.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Caprice.
This is Caprice from Origin. I'd also like to encourage people not to give up and not to just ignore those bills that come in the mail or on the internet and realize there is help. We recently had a gentleman come to us with $150,000 in credit card debt, which looked impossible, but he had very high income. He just didn't know how to manage it. He joined our debt management program, and within 3.5 years, he paid off all of his debt. And in the middle of it, his credit score had started going up, so he was able to buy a new home while he continued to pay off his credit card debt. he had just ignored it for too long. So there is help.
Yes.
Just call Origin. We have free counseling. We'll help.
That's a great point. There is help out there. David and then Paul.
Yes, with TD, we have the secure credit cards. We also have, when you have an account with us, you have mobile banking or online banking. We also give you your credit report or a credit score, so that way you can actually monitor where you're at in your credit, if you're up, if you're down, if you're in the middle and trying to build. We also offer online programs with like Finance 101, which is for mortgaging, budgeting, and strategies. We also offer, I know we're going to talk about this later, but financial education online for K through 12 students. So something for them to learn with, and it's all available free to the public. But it's also, we make sure we give these tools out, and we also encourage our clients to bring us their free credit report that they get each year. And we will go over with them and look at it with them and show them what's working for them, what's working against them. And just to be able to give them that little help and confidence, and like with the Origin, being able to say, where do you want to go? And this is what we need to get paid off. You got this hurting you. Your credit score is sitting at this right now. We want to get you to here. So because of your goals, like just like with Bank of America, we want to know where your goals are and what you want to do. And so we give out all these tools are free, as long, and the people just have to go online and look at them, and they're free for them to use.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, not to reinvent the wheel, because I think everybody here is pretty much kind of hit on the same area. But for Increasing Hope Financial Education, it starts with education and giving people the skills to pay the bills and the means to earn the greens. I mean, we really we have to get them educated so that they, number one, learn what not to do and learn not to make those very same mistakes and get caught in those very same traps. We've met people in the 400s. In fact, we just had a lady close on her own home. She started out with us in the program with a 490 credit score. Through counseling, we got her up to 780, and she just got closed on a house last month. But meeting people where they are, absolutely. But number one, most important thing is making sure they understand that there's always hope. That's our name, Increasing Hope. And they have to understand there's always hope, because once somebody loses hope, they've lost everything.
Thank you. Skills to pay the bills, means to earn the greens. And can we quote you on that?
Yes, sir.
I love that. Otha?
I'd just like to add another layer on to the conversation that we're having right now. And I think that is that statistically 1/3 of the folk in South Carolina are unbanked or underbanked. That means that they don't have a relationship with any of your institutions or first tier banking. And so I use this example. It's not so much about income poverty, it's about asset poverty. And I preference it this way. As long as people were going to work every day prior to the pandemic, they were able to make ends meet. But as soon as that paycheck stopped, the bottom fell out, because they had statistically less than $400 in savings in the bank and no access to credit. And so what I say to all of that is that we have to continually work to get those individuals who are not in the mainstream banking, who are going to alternative financial institutions, who are paying, predatory lending fees, to go to Bank of America, go to TD Bank, get into the first tier credit, if you will, credit repair, but give them an opportunity to move into the economic mainstream, because if they're not in it, we can't do the financial coaching or all of that we're talking about.
Thank you. David, you wanted to add on?
Yeah, especially the part where you said they're underbanked. That's one of the things we do at TD is a lot of people are afraid of banks because of their credit score, because of something that's happened in the past. And they're afraid to come to banks. And I understand that. One thing we do is we don't do credit checks at TD Bank. We take a risk with people. That's why we go into the communities that are underprivileged and underserved. Usually it's where you're going to find one of our locations, because we want to reach out to that community and welcome everybody in. Now, if you've been with us before and you left on bad terms, we do give the ability to fix those terms and come back to us. And if you've never been with us, we welcome you in with open arms. Unfortunately, there's other institutions that they take a look at credit scores and other things. We try not to do that because we believe everybody has a fair shot. And that's why you want to, like with where we're at on East Bay Street and in North Charleston and different areas of the community. That's why we're in those areas, is we're trying to bank these people that other banks won't bank, or that they've left, they were there and then they left, and we're going back into those communities to help them out. So we try to give everybody a chance. We welcome them in. And that's one of the premises of TD, is that we are here to serve the community and to welcome the entire community in.
Great. Latasha?
Hi, Latasha Francis with Origin. I wanted to be able to reiterate on a little bit of what everybody's saying, is that education is definitely the key. We learned during the pandemic that billions of dollars were spent, okay, in clothing, in games, in live stream TVs. And so it's teaching them what to do with their money when they have it. That's very important, because as we can see that a lot of money was spent in frivolous things. And so we have a problem on both sides, with some people who have money and they're not managing well, and some people who don't have money and don't know how to manage what they have. So educating here at Origin, we don't believe in just putting a Band-Aid on the problem. We want to teach you those vital skills that you need, which is very important. And I'm so glad they're bringing it back into the school system, is to teach them how that they can do this. I may only make $10 an hour. My rent's going up. I have 2 children. What do I do? All is not lost. We want to be able to talk to you about where your money is being spent, your housing affordability. Maybe we need to look into some of the lower affordability apartments around. Resources and talking with these networks are so important, so that we do have an avenue to lead our clients to. So they're not just coming in and getting assistance, but they're actually able to leave with needed skills. They're actually able to leave with financial management. So if they ever find themselves in this position again, they know how to get themselves out. They have the tools. So education definitely is the key, but also getting people to find out where is the underlying cause of why you're spending your money there. So working with a counselor, we're able to ask those hard questions. And sometimes those answers aren't necessarily boiled down. They don't have enough money. It's just that maybe they shop when they get upset or depressed, or they feel like they can't buy their children the name brand clothes, and they're afraid they'll get, made fun of in school. So they'll go buy those items, and then they didn't pay their rent or their mortgage, and yet they lose their homes. So if we could talk to them about those underlying problems, so that we're not telling you no, that you can't live, that you can't buy these things or ever have these things, but that there's a way to get there. It just may be a slow walk, but it's a walk indeed. I always tell my clients, even if you have no money to save, $1 saved 100 times is $100. So at least you can start somewhere. So we want to give them, as he say, hope. And we want to also keep their integrity intact, that we just don't want to say no, 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 but we want to teach you the skills that you need to help yourself.
Thank you for that. So if I may pivot a little bit on Otha's comment about some folks being one paycheck away from literally homelessness, and having some assets and building some worth. And I've always believed that the two best ways to build some assets and worth is either through home ownership or property ownership, and or business ownership and running a business. It's not for everybody, but it is a way to add value and build some worth. And so let's pivot and talk about support for small businesses, particularly minority and women-owned businesses in our community, and programs that might be out there that could help folks considering or already engaged in a business. Paul?
We were awarded, at the end of 2021, we were awarded from the SBA a Women's Business Center. So we operate a Women's Business Center, and their sole focus are women, minorities, disabled, and veterans. Whether those individuals are in the beginning stages, what we call a dreamer stage of business, have an idea, don't know where to go with it, whether they have a business they've started, or they're already in business. We have mentors who will come alongside these folks. And after, determining what they need, exactly where they are in their business, and these folks will help them get to where they need to be at, whether that be capital infusion. We have helped folks get secure capital funding, which has allowed them to continue their business. Marketing strategies, product analysis, patent development. I mean, it's a full scale. It's what we call a one-stop shop. We also operate a business success center, and that's for everybody else. It's a parallel universe to the Women's Business Center, but some guys may not want to be in the Women's Business Center, so they can go to the Business Success Center, and it also helps nonprofits as well.
Great, thank you. Regarding financing, he's not on the panel, but I wanted to shout out to Sam Scarden back over here, who's with, it used to be the LDC, now the Klein Fund. And they specialize in helping minority and women-owned businesses with financing and helping with other resources as well, right, Sam?
Yes.
Yeah, you want to just take the mic for one sec? Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate it. So my name is Sam Scarden. I work with the Climb Fund, and I see several of our partners around the table here. Good to see y'all. We're a nonprofit mission-driven loan fund that does small business lending for folks who cannot access traditional capital. So it's a great deal for banks because you never have to turn someone away. You can just refer them to us if they're looking for a small business loan. And we work with them. We will make loans that most traditional banks will not. And our goal is to make them creditworthy, to send them back to you as creditworthy customers within 3 to 5 years. So it's a great deal. We're a nonprofit out here that, one, makes sure you never have to say no, and two, creates customers for you down the line in the long haul. So, and as the mayor mentioned, more than half of our lending is to minority-owned businesses. More than a third of it is woman-owned businesses, and about a fifth of it now is veteran-owned businesses. So that is who tends to struggle to access credit in South Carolina for all the reasons all of you know well. And we are here to help try to solve that problem, especially if they want to become entrepreneurs.
Thank you, Sam.
Sam, what's the rate?
What's that?
What's your rate, typical loan?
The size of it? Yeah, we have no written minimum or maximum. Our average is about $48,000. So we're doing food trucks and daycares and nail salons and you name it. But if it's a small business that needs access to credit, we can help with that.
Yes, ma'am. Caprice.
Do your borrowers have credit score requirements?
We do not have a credit score requirement. We do look at someone's credit score, but we give them an opportunity to explain it and work with us. And if they're working on improving it and we think that they're still credit worthy in spite of a low number, we'll still make that one.
Terrific. Yes,
Would
ma'am.
the rate change depending on their credit score?
So that I'm glad you mentioned that. And as I've been sitting and listening, I've been thinking one thing missing from this conversation is a reminder that a lot of consumers need to know that not all lenders have their best interests at heart. There are people who will lend you money not because they think you can pay it back, because they think they can make money off your struggle to pay it back. So our biggest competitor is not traditional banks. Again, we only lend to people who traditional banks will not. Our biggest competitor are the loan sharks and predatory lenders. So we do cap our rates. We will never go. We are slightly above market rate. Again, if someone is bankable, we want them to go to a bank. And our saying is, if you can get a bank loan, you should. If you can't, you should come to us. And if we will not lend to you, you should not be borrowing money right now. That's a long way of saying, yes, we cap our rates around 11%. It moves a little based on prime, but we're certainly not in the predatory range, which is, upwards of 50, 70, triple digit percentages. And again, that's our biggest competition. And that's unfortunately where we see a lot of people going.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
I did want to share and shout out to the Chamber of Commerce of all folks. We are collaborating more with them. This past year, we became partners on an accelerator program whereby the Chamber selected about a dozen existing minority business owners and took them through a year-long, pretty intensive training effort to try to accelerate their businesses and move them kind of a quantum leap up to the next level. this year in 23, they'll be taking on about 15 more businesses. There's similar efforts in Columbia and Greenville. So we hope the synergy of that over time will create more successful minority businesses. And then I'm not sure it'll open by the end of 23, but certainly first quarter 24. The city of Charleston will be opening our own minority business incubator. And we invite all of y'all to be a part of that. It's going to be on the ground floor of the James Lewis apartments on Lee Street. We have about 8,000 square feet that we're going to dedicate to helping small and minority businesses, including a small retail area and a kind of training corner store for aspiring retailers in a place that needed a little bit of a, I wouldn't say it was a food desert, but there aren't the best healthy food options in the neighborhood. And by opening the store, we hope to offer that as well. So I feel very excited about that. And so those are a couple of the ways that the city, through our MWBE office, and I'm sure you all know Ruth Jordan. And if you don't, you should get to know her. But the other thing that the chamber has taken upon, which I think is very positive for minority businesses, you know, the city for some decades has had a minority contracting assistance where when we do a construction project, we have goals to have a certain percentage of the construction budget spent with small and women and minority owned businesses. So in the thought of applying that mindset, that intentionality, not just to construction projects, but to the supply chain and goods, all goods and services, the chamber has taken it upon themselves to compile everybody's minority vendor list, the city, the county, the DOT, and they hope to have this ready mid-year 23. So rather than our list of 200 to 300 vendors, you'll have a tri-county list of say 1,000 minority and women-owned business vendors and categorized by what business they're in. And we're going to encourage not just government, but private businesses to be intentional about doing business with minority and women-owned businesses in our region. And because I've always been convinced that this encouragement can't be on the back of government alone, that it should be, shared in the community. And I hope that 23, we're going to be able to take a big step in being able to promote that concept. If everyone all businesses just try to spend 10% of their annual budget with small, local, minority and women-owned businesses, think of the wealth that we could create locally, the jobs, the net value, right, Otha? Wouldn't that be terrific? So that's a big goal for this year coming up. All right, so if I could change topics again and not parlaying on anyone's comment, but just following our agenda to talk about tax season. The end of the year is coming up, and it's almost, it reminds me that word predatory a minute ago, that sometimes there's folks out there doing income tax returns. And anyway, there's the volunteer income tax assistance, free tax preparation that can really help some folks save money and bring some dollars in when they most need it. So anybody have any insights about that, please share. Otha.
The Urban League started the volunteer income tax assistance program back in 2009. And that program today, we have 15 tax sites that we do, and the combined refund to this community is over $3 million a year to low and moderate income families. The reason why we started that program in 2009 is because, unfortunately, in this community, we have one of the highest rate of anticipated refund anticipated loans in the nation. That means individuals are taking their tax return, going to the payday lender and getting a loan. And the mindset is this. Well, I'm getting back, $1,000, but the fee that I have to pay is $250 to $300. And so what that is that you're giving away 25% of your money. And so at the end of the day, the question is, we ask our clients, do you understand the whole thing of interest rates? What does it actually cost? And so, when we talk about, what a $5,000 car costs actually at a 25% interest rate, it's mind-boggling that people in this community are probably paying 3 times more than what that vehicle is worth. So that's why we started the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. That program provides free tax assistance to those households that make less than $60,000 a year. We not only prepare the taxes, but we file those taxes electronically. Increasing Hope is one of those sites, Paul, and the folk up there do an outstanding job, and it's a collective effort. At the end of the day, what we're trying to do is we're trying to save individuals at $250 to $400 in tax preparation fees. If you make less than $60,000 in this community, you don't have to pay to get your taxes done. There's no reason that you have to pay to get your taxes done. And just a couple of notes. We have to change the narrative on tax preparation and refunds. Too many people in this community think it's free money. It's extra money. We need to change that narrative. What we need to do, for the folk up at Origin, and Paul, you understand, is we need to get folk to understand how to maximize in their deductions, so that at the end of the day, when it comes to their state tax, their federal taxes, they owe zero. The example is this. Okay, if you get back a $2,400 return, but if you look at taking that $200 a month and applying it to your savings account, or to some other interest-bearing account. These are the kind of things that we need to do in terms of changing the narrative, in terms of what a tax refund is all about. And I heard you folks talking about how do we get people to do something differently with that money. Well, it's hard to say, don't go out and buy that flat screen, okay? Believe me, but that's what we have to do. Because I talked about, what we do at the Urban League. At the Urban League, we talk about asset building. Taking that, we have folks who walk out the door, sometimes $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And what we encourage folk to do, number one, is taking advantage of the financial literacy program that we provide at the Urban League. If it's not at the Urban League, do it at Increasing Hope, at Origin, whatever, but take a financial literacy course. The other thing that we advocate is buying an asset, getting a money market, but we at the Urban League encourage home buying. We feel home buying is the ultimate asset. We talk a lot about the wealth gap in America. Mr. Mayor, you may or may not know, and I'm maybe going a little bit long around this, but some years ago, we did the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act for the Charleston, North Charleston metropolitan area. And what we found with that report is that 40% of Blacks own homes versus over 80% of whites. And so when you look at the wealth gap in America, not only in America, but in this country, it's due primarily to home ownership. And so one of the things that we want to do is definitely, create more opportunities for home ownership. But we do that by advocating for those persons who come through the Urban League or one of the other programs to take that refund, build an asset, take financial literacy, get coached up, and think about participating in a home buying program and buy that ultimate asset, and that would be a home.
Absolutely. Any other comments or insights about tax preparation and income taxes?
Well, one thing to mention too is that what I've noticed over the last 2 or 3 years, especially during the pandemic, is that the price that these paid preparers are charging has exponentially increased. Paid preparers are knocking people over the head with simple returns that I can do and have you printed and out the door in 10 minutes flat. Paid preparers are charging $400, $450 for those tax returns. That is just absolutely ridiculous. When I look at how many tax returns we've done over the years, I'm happy to say that we have managed to take $750,000 away from corporate bank accounts and put it back into the pockets of the taxpayers, which are then, it's then spent in our local communities and put in our local banks. The one thing I think, Mr. Mayor, that we are seriously lacking in is this is a wonderful program. How free is free? You can't get any better than that. But the problem is the awareness. If you look at the total number of tax returns that the VITA program has done over the course of the year, compared to the number of tax returns filed in the Tri-County area, it's 1% or less, because people don't know they can get their taxes done for free. And I think we really have got a strong opportunity. If we're going to talk about building the wealth, we've got to get folks into these free centers, get their taxes done, save the money, take advantage of the financial education that you can get as far as where are you going to spend your money. Sure, flat screen TV, vacation, pay yourself first. But what about that payday loan that keeps haunting you every single payday? Or that payday lender that is going to bother you every single 2 weeks and you have to worry about whether your car's in the driveway or not. See, that's the kind of asset building in the long run. Get rid of those type of debts, those bills, get those out of there, and people can really start building assets, and really it can make a huge change in our community.
Well, thank you, Paul. And you raise a very valid question and concern, and that's just about communications in this modern world. People don't watch just 3 TV stations and read a newspaper. There's all kinds of platforms on social media and everything under the sun. And I think, Latasha, we have to meet people where they are, be that in churches or flyers or community events. And I did ask Mindy, I'll have her pass this around and distribute to all our bank-owned things, just for us to jointly develop a little flyer with the basic things that our community can provide our citizens, from help filing your taxes to home ownership to job training, so that we kind of have a joint resource, a old-fashioned flyer, if you will, that can be distributed and put out in the community and for community events and churches and otherwise. And you probably have something like that already, but to do one amongst us all, I think would be a good idea.
Well, the only thing I wanted to also mention, Mr. Mayor, is that the paid preparers have already started their campaigns.
Yeah.
They've already started letting people know that, hey, we're here. We'll give you a Christmas loan. They're not going to tell you how much the Christmas loan costs, but they're already marketing. And the longer that we wait to get the word out about this free program, the further behind the 8 ball we are.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Good point. So if I may now pivot to job training, workforce development, and what's going on in our community. I'm going to pick on Chad here to kick us off on that topic.
Happy to, and I'll start with our K-12 system, which I represent. I'm Chad Vale with Charleston County Schools. Again, thanks for the opportunity to be here. And the K-12 system, as I mentioned, the financial literacy class was approved. We actually have financial literacy in some of our high schools already, and we have finance as a major. There are 16 career clusters you can choose from as you matriculate into 8th and to high school grades 9 through 12. And of course, there's an individual graduation plan all students have every year, 8th grade through 12th grade, where they reassess their goals as far as careers and the classes they'll take in high school. Some choose finance, and that's great. They're typically aiming for a career in banking or other financial type occupations. We also have at one of our schools in the East Cooper, we have a real estate class, and there's some neat one-off classes, and a lot of those depend on the instructor. We do have also a terrific relationship with Federal Credit Union, and that's at R.B. Stahl High School. We also have a credit union in the school, and students work in that branch. They get unbanked students and create accounts. The faculty can use it to make and withdraw funds. So that's a great example. And Rev, formerly Heritage Trust Federal Credit Union, was our partner in that, and they have some in Dorchester and Berkeley County as well, just the one in North Charleston so far. We'd like to expand that. We also have relationships with great institutions like Bank of America and TD Bank and others. That's all that are here, right? But we bring in guest speakers and we make sure that students have one event I'll mention is called Reality Check, or the Reality of Money. And we're just scheduling those for the spring now, where students will be able to have a in-school field trip, make some really good decisions in a role-playing situation, whereas they walk in, maybe it's the cafeteria and there's things around the room, and they're given a scenario. You are a single mom with 2 kids and your mom lives with you and you make $75,000 a year in income, which sounds like a big number until the reality sets in, right? And they've got to pay rent and all the other expenses. And we know what happens. They get a good dose of reality, and hopefully they leave more aware. The last thing I'll mention, and there's so many things, Mayor, we could touch on this and any other specifics you'd like me to talk about, but I want to mention our relationship as our district with Trident Technical College and the no-cost workforce training programs they have, including small business programs. But those workforce training programs can unlock the door to great jobs, and they're short-term. They're certifications. They're not associate level. It takes 3 days to get a forklift certification. And there are companies in our community that are all about paying 20 plus an hour for a forklift driver 24/7 in a fulfillment center like a Walmart or an Amazon. And we're thankful to have some of those users in our community. So I'm really thankful we have that great relationship, and we can refer our seniors that are graduating and might not have a destination yet to a workforce training program offered by Trident Technical College at no cost, with a short-term commitment, and sometimes like MUSC will hire you even before you get your certification, just to basically get you before somebody else gets you, because there's lots of hospital systems in our community that are so great. So I hope that's a small outline. I'd be happy to expand on any others. I do want to mention we do school-based enterprise in our schools, and like a school store or many opportunities like that. And a lot of our special needs students are also participate in those school-based enterprise. Maybe it's a coffee shop, and that's a great incubator for financial literacy awareness and entrepreneurship.
Great. Anybody want to pile in? Otha?
Chad and you and I need to talk.
You're on my list.
You're on my list. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But at the Urban League this past year, we started a pre-apprenticeship program in collaboration with Trident Tech and the South Carolina Technical College System. And what that is about is as we talked about earlier, is just trying to create opportunities to move people into high-paying jobs that pay a living wage. We have so many jobs in this community that are going unfilled because we have there's a workforce here that don't have the skill set that they're needing to fill those jobs. And so we feel that if it is that we can, the key thing about apprenticeships is you don't need a college degree. And so for those individuals who are not aspiring to go to college, but who want a career at a high-paying, well-paying job, I think apprenticeships are the way to go. And so we are working on the pre-apprenticeship end of it, moving those persons from the pre-apprenticeship program into the apprenticeship program to work at various industries in the region. And so we're just real excited with the support that we got from Bank of America to do the program because we just, it's get a job, get a job 101 is not the ticket. Right now it's about getting people into employment that allows them to really, make a wage and they can act effectively plan for their futures. So we're real happy to do that program.
That's a good point. Otha, we have the challenge of lots of good jobs being available out there that aren't being fulfilled. So I view it as an opportunity. And sometimes a business ownership isn't for everyone, but right now I can't think of a better time if you were an employee and wanted to up your income of looking at other opportunities that are out there and other training that's out there. And I'll just give this example. And I'm thankful for our hospitality industry. I mean, it's an incredibly vibrant segment of Charleston's economy, but average wages only equate to mid forties, $40,000, $45,000 per year. And the Charleston Digital Charter, which is a partnership of 800 knowledge-based businesses that do software and technology and all like that, they just did a re-up on their survey. Average wage is $117,000 a year for businesses that are a part of the Charleston Technology Center and the Digital Charter. So you get back to that whole issue of education and the value of employment, but there's no better time than right now for people to take a good hard look at what they're doing and could they pursue another career that could bring them more money. So I'm going to switch gears and call on Mary, maybe put her on the spot. I'm thankful for everyone to be here, but I'm particularly thankful to have another elected official to take your time, Mary Tinkler, to be with us today. She's our Charleston County Treasurer. So this might be down in the weeds because you collect, I think, hundreds of millions of dollars a year and help manage. So that's on a much higher level. But Mary, you want to share any wisdom from the work that you do in managing all that money?
Well, so I can definitely, I'm listening to all of y'all talk, and I realize that what I'm doing in terms of collecting property taxes is a small piece of the puzzle, really, in terms of home ownership, and school district, et cetera. But what we are doing is we are making sure that we are collectively, as citizens of this community, funding things that we all appreciate, like school district, like garbage collection, like our police protection and fire protection. And so it is something that I think a lot of taxpayers often are, well, one, nervous to call our office because usually they're afraid of the tax bill that has come out from the auditor's office. And I don't, as many have talked about, I don't want people to be afraid to call because like y'all have been able to offer hope, we can as well. There are tax laws that we have that citizens can take advantage of. I want them to take advantage of. They are at their disposal. But it is about the communication. It's about the marketing of these programs and these tax laws so that they can be helpful. That is a problem that we have. So, I mean, to kind of give you a sense of things, if you are a homeowner, you are eligible for a 4% legal residence tax exemption. And we find that many citizens do not, and have not taken advantage of that. If they are not taking advantage of that, their tax bill for their real estate property tax that comes out every October due mid-January is going to be about 2/3 more than what they would be paying if they had that tax exemption. What that tax exemption does is, again, we are collecting on a tax bill for 6 political subdivisions in your jurisdiction, whether it's the city of Charleston, Charleston County, Trident Technical College, Parks and Recreation, the school district being the largest, of course. They are getting a tax credit that not only is a 4% versus a 6% tax assessment ratio difference, but they're also receiving a tremendous tax credit from the state. The state is providing for them a subsidy that is paying for the school district operating cost. And that's huge. And so again, we're finding that a lot of citizens do not know to take advantage of that 4% legal residence exemption. As well, there is something known as the homestead exemption, and that is for residents who are over the age of 65 or have certain disabilities that are made eligible by the Department of Revenue. That is $50,000 off of your taxable value of your home. And again, that is something that you have to apply. Both of these you have to apply for. So if you're not aware of them, if you're not familiar with them, they often get overlooked, and they are tremendous tax savings for someone who has lived in their home for many, many years. Often their home is around the value of $50,000. And so we can essentially cut out a full real estate tax bill if they know to apply. And it's, when I say apply, it's literally just filling out your name, your address, and showing a driver's license. And so it's not a complicated application process, but it's something that you need to do to get those exemptions. So there are things available to citizens, that will save them money ultimately and make home ownership more accessible, which again is a tremendous asset and value to this community. We also have, and I know that David Slade had mentioned this in an article last week, the federal government has provided South Carolina with a tremendous amount of money, grant money, to help homeowners at this time until the funding runs out with property taxes, utility bills, mortgage payments. It's called the South Carolina Homeowner Rescue Program. And we know it's working because while we do not qualify those that are receiving this funding, we have been receiving property taxes, whether that is a delinquent amount in property taxes, which at that point is 15% of penalty attached to that tax bill. We have been receiving redemption amounts, which not only is there a 15% penalty at that point, but there is interest that is due to a bidder after a tax sale. And we've been receiving current taxes from this program. So it is working, and citizens should take advantage of this while the money is there from the federal government. This is all from ARPA funding.
So that money is coming straight to you from the program?
From the
So that's how
program.
you know it's being
Yes.
utilized?
Yep. So we are working directly with this program to ensure that citizens are getting their taxes paid.
That's right.
And when they give us a call on the phone and say that they're having difficulty, we're sending them there. And I want to, say too, that Origin, South Carolina, and tax year 2020, I called them and asked if they had any assistance whatsoever in helping citizens to pay their taxes, and they came through with some grant money as well. So they too are working truly for the taxpayers. But again, we all know that we have to pay taxes. If we own a home, if we own a car, that's the reality of things. The reality of things is that taxes go up. And as much as we don't want to talk about it, again, we need to make sure that we're doing all that we can as elected officials to make sure that the tax laws make the most sense, make sure that the communication is out there. I'm often out in community events talking about the programs that we have. In the treasurer's office, we also have started an installment plan. So for citizens who own their home outright, not in a mortgage, we are able to offer the opportunity for them to pay property taxes to us over the course of a year rather than all at once. And it has been tremendously helpful to those particularly who are on fixed incomes. So again, there are programs, there are laws, there are opportunities out there that can be helpful. You just need to call us as well. As much as we're out in the community, we can't unfortunately touch everybody. So don't be afraid to call, because as you said, there is hope.
Great. Thank you, Mary. Caprice, did you want to add?
I just wanted to thank you on behalf of Origin for calling us and say that we earned an additional $50,000 grant from the County of Charleston, which we're going to focus on paying taxes and utilities for those people who can't qualify for help elsewhere.
Well, thank you. That's
Thank you.
fantastic.
You're first to hear that.
Terrific. Peter, I'm going to pick on you just because you've been quiet. You want to add anything to this conversation?
There's a lot of interesting points to be made, with the tax refunds, being so expensive. And, not only are they paying up front, but people that don't have bank accounts, oh, we can help you. They'll load it on a card, and then you have to spend $5-6 a pop getting $300 at a time out of an ATM. So that adds up an awful lot. Talking to people and trying to reason them out of that instant gratification is a real challenge. And, I'm not on the front lines in banking anymore, but I was for long enough to know it's hard to break those habits. We really need to partner. The banks need to partner with the community organizations so we can be an asset, something that they can use. This Bank On program, there are Bank On approved checking products that are user friendly. And if you're not already referring people to Bank On, and I'm sure all the banks here have products that are authorized to use that are inexpensive alternatives to, it's like entry-level banking, basically. But if you're not already referring people, please do. And if we don't know each other and Wood Forest isn't doing anything for your organization yet, please give me your email address. We'll talk. But lots of opportunities out there. And the other thing, staffing is a big concern for a lot of businesses and bankings. They're not immune to the staffing challenges that have been out there either. What I kind of wonder is where are people lacking confidence to transition from the job at Wendy's and then the second job at Dunkin' Donuts to the job at Bank of America or the job at Wood Forest National Bank? Some of my greatest success stories came to us after working for 3 or 4 years at Burger King and maximizing what they can do there. We can get them into banking. We can teach anyone banking. We can't teach them work ethic. And there are a lot of people out there that are working very, very hard. They just haven't taken the jump into a bigger opportunity. So in my mind, how do we help people not only, get the banking set up and comfortable, but comfortable making a leap from that uncomfortable comfort zone of the 2 low-paying jobs to a more professional career track?
Great. Thank you, Peter. So if I may, we started out going around the table. Let's do that one final time and ask if y'all have any final thoughts or, bright moments from the conversation that we've had here this afternoon. Caitlin?
Yes, one thing I wanted to add, this has been a really great conversation and home buyership has come up a lot. One of the things that we offer, Bank of America has committed $15 billion to our community homeownership commitment. And one of that is by offering grants. It's really hard to come up with that money for a down payment. That's just a huge chunk of money that it's hard to come up with. So Bank of America offers a lot of different grants and different home buyership programs. And they have what's called a real estate center where you can actually go in there and search all the homes that are for sale. And it shows you what grants are available for these homes. So as people are looking for homes, if you have anybody, that you're talking to, and they may qualify for a grant, send them to that real estate, locator, because it shows everything that's available for those homes as well.
Thank you. Chad?
So one thing I'll touch on, and first of all, what a great conversation. And I hope that was able to add value in the education, opportunities we have through K-12 and beyond. Please know that we have 3 new regional career centers serving our community, one in East Cooper on the Wando campus, one in West Ashley and West Ashley High School campus, and one in North Charleston, right on Montague across North Charleston High School. And these 3 centers for advanced study career centers serve all of our comprehensive high schools and offer the opportunity for students to enroll in the health science or the engineering or mechatronics, but all the programs align with the high demand, high wage jobs that await them because their talent is in demand more now than ever. They can earn not only those completer certificates of those programs of study, but also certifications aligned with each of those programs and come out job ready if they choose, or of course they can go on to a 2+2, 4-year bachelor's degree, things like that. So that's good news. Please help us spread the word that those career centers are up and running. They represent a significant investment, a capital cost. And we want to make sure they're full of students that are aware of the amazing jobs that await them in our community.
Thank you, Chad. David?
Thank you. I want to first say thank you for the opportunity. This has been great conversation all around from everybody here, and I'm taking a lot away. One thing I want to say though is from TD's point of view is we're really interested in our communities. We're really embedded in our communities, and we're here for our communities, small businesses, home ownership, the people that don't have bank accounts. The biggest thing I want people to take away from this is talk to us. The people here are here for the community. Being Woodforest, TD, Bank of America, Origin SC, we're all here for the community, and we want the community to grow. We want it to survive, to thrive and grow. And we want to get people to the next level. Where that level is for them is individual. But we're here for everybody, and we want everybody to come to us. And the thing is, don't be afraid to ask for help. As everybody said around here, we're here for hope. We're here to tell people there's hope. Be open with your financial institution. Be open with these opportunities that are around here. Go to them. The Climb Fund is great with small businesses that we can't help. But be honest about and realistic, and be ready to hear some real answers. Some of the stuff that we say to people, they don't want to hear, but it's real because this is a real situation. Inflation is hurting the communities. The predatory lenders are hurting the communities. These predatory tax companies are hurting the communities. We're here to help out everybody with free taxes, preparation, with the great mortgage locator and grants at Bank of America, with the community involvement with TD Bank, and with the community involvement with Woodforest. And God, I can't say enough about Origin SC. They're amazing. But we're here for everybody. Just the citizens need to know we're here to help them out, and there is hope.
Thank you, David. And speaking of Origin, Caprice, and I commend y'all. We have the largest contingent here around the table is from Origin, South Carolina. Caprice?
Well, thank you. We're delighted to be here. Bank On has been part of our agenda with the city since the beginning, I think back in 2009, maybe. I don't quite remember, but everyone get banked. You need to be banked. You need to improve your credit score, and don't be afraid. Don't throw those bills away. Come see Origin. Last year, we helped 161 new homeowners purchase a home using grant funds and some of our secondary financing, bringing over $70 million in leverage to our state. And we coached thousands of people with bankruptcy counseling to get them out of that debt, or credit counseling. And I will let our wonderful licensed credit counselors tell you more. Thank you.
Once again, we thank you for the opportunity of just being able to come out and partner and listen and hear about what is going on in our community. One of the things that I would like to share is Origin also work closely with the courts. We have an agent out program where we find so important for those young adults who have a trust fund. So before they get that money, we have to do a counseling session with them, several sessions with them, to just make sure that one, they know that what their goals are, they know where their funds are coming from, and are they actually able to navigate and understand what to do with the funds, or if they have bank accounts, or how important is credit. So once again, it goes back to the information in the school. So we enjoy building those partnerships and just being able to collaborate with anybody in the community, getting that information out there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Latasha?
Thank you very much for having me today. I feel very honored to be in here and learn of all these resources so that we have more nuggets to take back to our clients and our future clients. We also have a program I wanted to mention, our HSC CP eviction prevention and foreclosure prevention programs, where the clients are signing up online, and what we're doing is we're doing their budget analysis, a credit analysis, and we're doing assessment so that we can talk to them about their housing affordability, their situation, and not just for them to come and get assistance, but also take away some of those necessary skills to remain housed so that their housing stability has improved. We also offer our programs every week. We're doing either introduction to homeownership or credit improvement classes that are free. We do offer them virtual so that we can reach more people, and that, you know, everyone has busy lives and they're able to just log on via Zoom so that we can get that free literacy information out to them as well. And we just want the community to know that you have an advocate. We are your advocate. We will be your biggest cheerleader, no matter where you are, what your budget is, or what your situation is. We have a program that fits the demands of the community right now. So whether it's debt management, credit improvement, eviction or foreclosure prevention, or if you just need budget counseling, we have those. And if you even need psychiatric services, we can refer you. Wherever situation you come to Origin, we want to be able to give you some resources and tools that you need to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Latasha. Peter?
Prior to coming to Charleston, my territory would have been Cleveland and Akron and Youngstown and Canton, and not a single one of those public mayor's offices took such an active interest in these sort of initiatives. So for that, I thank you very much. Here in Charleston and at all of our locations, we require our branch managers to serve on a board or committee that serves low to moderate income individuals. We require all of our branch managers to facilitate certain amounts of financial education hours. So really getting to know the people in the community that are active in these initiatives is super important to me. And I really appreciate y'all coming out here. And again, I can't overstate how much I look forward to developing those relationships between Wood Forest and community organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Madam Treasurer?
I think, again, to go back to being fearful and afraid of calling, I want people to reach out to us early. The earlier, the better. The more we can help you stay away from penalties, from a tax sale, from interest, and things that will only increase that bill more. So we're trying to do our best, again, to get out and educate the community about how best and how to make those payments more easy for you. But there are plenty of misconceptions too when it comes to property taxes. And I think that that's where the fear comes in, particularly as this community is changing so much and the cost of home ownership is going up. Many people are comparing their property taxes and their neighbors' property taxes to their own and thinking that their property tax bill will be like their neighbors. But in fact, our tax laws are set up to, cap, for example, a reassessment value of a home at 15% every 5 years. So even though it probably will go up if the neighboring home values are going up, yours may not or will not go up nearly as much. And I think that that's been a lot of fear that I hear as I go out into the community, listening to taxpayers talk about the people who are moving into their homes and driving up the prices of the homes in their neighborhood. So again, I think there's still a lot of fear, a lot of misconception out there about what it means to be a homeowner. And the more they call us, we're happy to answer. So please call.
Thank you again for being with us. Otha?
Education works. The more folk are educated about what they can do to change their situation, the better off they'll be. We've been doing home buying since way before 2000. And when I look back in the record, we've never had a person lose their home to default or foreclosure. And so I think that says a lot about the importance. And I don't care if you're even a homeowner today, you need to take a financial literacy course. The other thing is I want to say that we have a scholarship program for those persons who come through our first time home buying program. We're able to give them $1,000 toward their closing costs. And so if you have some folk who may qualify for that, have them contact us at the Urban League. The other thing is, it's incredibly important that we work extra hard to get people to where we are. We've got all these great things going on, and I can say at the Urban League, we put a lot into marketing, radio, announcements, we do ads. And let me say, we cannot compete, as Paul has talked about, we can't compete with the paid preparers. We can't compete with those businesses, but we try very hard. But this is the thing that I want to leave us with today. I think our reality is that we live in a society, unfortunately, where you're penalized if you're poor or low income. And I preference it this way. Okay, you get your utility turned off. You got to pay a deposit. Then you got to pay a reconnection fee. If you have no credit or low credit, you got to pay these incredible interest rates just to get, money, so, we have to work extra hard to move those folks that are on the margins into the financial and social mainstreams. And I think that if we, take into account the information that we've shared here this afternoon, if we can continue to work to connect the dots to talk about the collaboration, I think that we can be we can continue to knock on this thing and see some more positive results, because the work is extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
I can't say much more after that. I mean, education is certainly the key for increasing hope. By the way, I want to thank on behalf of Executive Director Dorothy Bernique, who cannot be here. I want to thank you, Bank On, for having us here and having me here today. This has been a very positive, eye-opening experience, being able to hear from folks who are in similar industries, the banking folks, Mr. Mayor. One thing I do want to mention, guys, is, like I said, education is the key. We can't control people's choices. We have absolutely no way to control that, but we can control making sure that they have the tools and the education that they need to make the right choices. We can give them the alternatives to making the right choices. And I think, Oath, to your point, I mean, we are now, I think, in a position to be able to make that happen. We just have to get the awareness out there for the different services that are out here, free to low cost services, that it's going to cost you as a citizen, it's going to cost you time. But it's going to be time that's going to be very well spent and very well invested. At Increasing Hope, we offer what we call a one-stop shop. So between our financial literacy programs, which expand all the way from budgeting, credit counseling, home ownership. One thing too, I failed to mention earlier that we're seeing, we do foreclosure prevention. Origin, you ladies are probably seeing this too, but we've seen a strong uptick in the number of people coming to us who are those COVID forbearances are starting to expire, and those people are starting to the factor is okay, I got $20,000 I got to pay in back mortgage. How do I do it? What do I do? And they're lost. And so we have to make sure that folks know that there are agencies out here that will help them navigate through those waters so they are able to stay in those homes, don't lose those assets, because the banks, you guys don't want those homes. We know that. Your REO divisions don't want those homes because you don't know what to do with them. So, I'm not saying anything, it's out of line. That's very true. So, educating people is the key, and getting people connected to these services. Just again, thank you for having Increasing Hope here, and I look forward to the next time.
Well, thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for your organizations being a part of Bank On Charleston, which is, as I mentioned, to provide resources to empower our citizens in the financial realm. I want to thank Mindy Sturm over here. Stand up or wave. Who's our staff leader on Bank On Charleston. I know you all have your own information websites and otherwise. We try to compile everything on the website, bankoncharleston.org. And we're going to work on more ways to try to communicate down to the grassroots, to people, to meet them where they are and try to get this information and this help in the hands of those who need it the most. And the most encouraging thing to me today is that help is really there. Collectively, help is here for those in need in our community. But Otha and everyone, I believe we are at a remarkable juncture of opportunity, despite what might happen in the national economy. I'm not saying we're immune to it, but the Charleston economy is strong. There is no better time to lift all boats than right now, be it helping people with better employment opportunities or business opportunities and home ownership. There is no better time than right now to raise all boats in Charleston, South Carolina. And I thank you all for being such a critical part of that. Thank you for being with us today. All right.